Welcome to part 2 of this topic on forgiveness. So as I was finishing off in the last video, I was talking about the inner child and the inner teenager and how I came to this, I had this like download or realization, epiphany, whatever you want to call it, this week, that the inner child is very much like our feminine energy because it's very pure, it's very unconditional love. It's just, you think of that pure energy, right? That receptive energy, just that playful feminine energy. And your inner teenager to me is like your masculine energy. It's rebellious, it's very action oriented, it's go go go, it's that giver energy, right? But when we are in that wounded inner child, that wounded inner teenager, you're going to have wounded feminine, wounded masculine energy. And that's why it's so important to heal these energies, why it's so important to comfort our inner child, why it's so important to comfort our inner teenager. And so going back to what I was saying in the previous video, we have to practice forgiveness, not only with the ones that, like our twin flame or our loved ones, our friends, but with ourselves. Like, it is so important to acknowledge your inner child, acknowledge your inner teenager, because we don't do that. That's why we as adults have to start parenting in the way that we did not get when we were children. A lot of us have been abandoned. A lot of us have had trauma because our parents, and it's not to blame them, but our parents didn't know how to fully love us, right? This is why we heal ancestral trauma. This is why we are here. Our generation is here to break the ancestral trauma, the things that keep repeating, the karmic cycles, the patterns where our parents didn't know how to give us love, didn't know how to speak kindly with us. They were not emotionally available, right? The fathers were always off working, didn't know how to give their kids love. Here, moms, you do it. And the moms just became overworked and they were overwhelmed, and they also didn't know how to emotionally talk to us sometimes. It's a lot. And so now many of us formed the anxious attachment. This is why so many divine feminines have the anxious attachment. They want to give so much love because they didn't receive it as much from their parents, and they got little breadcrumbs of it. So they're like, oh, I want to, and so you want more and more and more until you learn to heal those parts of you, and then you get secure attachment. And then you have those people that have avoidant attachment because their parents were not around. They dismissed their feelings. They told them, no, what are you doing? Stop crying. Stop. Go handle it yourself. Go take care of it yourself, right? A lot of men are like this because men have been shown that it's not okay to cry, that it's a weakness. And so this is why so many men, and yes, it can be men and women, okay? This is not gender specific, but I'm just saying overall, because I know I have a lot of same-sex couples, okay? I'm just saying, in general, a lot of men are like this. But yes, many women can be like this too, where they have fearful or dismissive avoidant attachments and attachment styles. And so if their parents were not around and they forced them to handle their emotions on their own and they were not really there for them, this caused a lot of turmoil where a lot of people just grew up not knowing how to handle their emotions and they push it away. And so anytime somebody gives them love, they want to run. Okay, and this is why you have a lot of the push and pull dynamics. But we are here to heal that. This is what I want to help people heal, is these attachment styles, these wounds. I want to help them heal these traumas, the pain that they had from their parents. But I don't want you guys to blame your parents for being this way, because your parents, this is why we have to practice forgiveness with our parents. Our parents didn't know any better because their parents were the same way to them. Think of your grandparents. My father's side of the family, they were all military. His father was never around. He was like a sergeant, like a big head honcho in the military, and was not around for the kids. And therefore, my father and all his brothers, they didn't know how to give their love, give their kids love the way that they deserve. Like, I'm literally breaking the patterns for my dad. And he cried in front of me last week. He broke down. We are breaking these cycles, guys. We are the ones doing this. And it's beautiful to see. Yes, we endured so much trauma. Yes, we endured so much pain. And our parents didn't give us the love. But guess what? It's not up to them to give us the love. It's up to us to now parent ourselves. And it's okay if they didn't know any better, but you have to forgive them. It's so hard. I know. And sometimes, like, you're like, oh, I wish I could change that. Everything is teaching you something. And so now we're going to make the world a better place. And we are shifting that mindset. We are shifting that mentality. We know now how we have to speak to our children, right? We sit down with them. We get down to them, to their eye level, and say, what's wrong, honey? It's okay to cry. Talk to me about your feelings. What's going on? What happened at school today? These are things that I do with my daughter. We don't want to make the same mistakes our parents did and create that generational trauma for our kids. And I'm kind of going all over the place, but it all intertwines, okay? And so we have to break these cycles, and we have to practice forgiveness. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. I thank you. But also forgiving them. I forgive you. I forgive you for the pain. I forgive you for rejecting me. I forgive you for XYZ. Whatever it may be, you have to forgive others and you have to forgive yourself. This is so crucial and really huge to come into union with yourself and with your twin flame. I want to come back to the whole twin flame mirroring thing, how they're not separate from you. So we have this, sometimes it's hard to wrap our head around that, but they're a whole other person, right? Like, what do you mean this person is me? Like, you know it. You know that they're you. 144 on the clock, by the way. You know that they're you, but it's sometimes hard to understand. For example, as divine feminines, because we are so loving, we tend to feel our divine masculines when they're going through it. And a lot of us want to heal them. A lot of us want to send healing to them. But I've noticed that while it's okay to do that, right? Like, I like to pray for my twin flame, but I don't necessarily want to send him healing, because the divine masculines have to go through this on their own, just like we did. And when we are sending them love and sending them healing and all this stuff, we're focusing on them. And I know that might trigger some of you, because I know a lot of us, we tend to heal them, but we're focusing on them instead of ourselves. When we bring that love back to us, when we start embodying that love, that gratitude, that forgiveness, that humble energy, and like just fully loving ourselves, that is what's going to heal them, because they are aligned with us. We are one. We share the same chakra system. We share the same frequency, the same energy. So when you are embodying that love for yourself, when you are healing yourself, when you're using the violet flame of fire to transmute your energies, guess what? It's working on them. They're going to feel that. They're going to feel the need to heal themselves, to work on themselves, to practice that love, to practice forgiveness, etc., etc., etc. This is why we don't focus on healing them or loving them. Yes, we love them unconditionally, but it's not about sending them love. It's about sending, oh, my eye keeps switching. It's about sending yourself that love. Please trust me when I say practice the Ho'oponopono. Do that. There's different variations on YouTube. I have the video on my playlist, several of them, I think. You can do the 108 mantras where you repeat it, or you can say specifically out loud in meditation who you want to forgive, or who you're saying sorry to, and who you want forgiveness from. Okay, so just closing your eyes and saying, so and so, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. I thank you. Please forgive me for XYZ. Very, very important technique, and I highly recommend you do this. I'm going to come out with a part 3 on a different topic.